All right, and we are live. What's happening, Luke, my man?
Hey
How are
yo,
you?
what is cooking?
So I
Happy
am coming to
summertime.
you from, I think you know this, but I'm coming to you from Dubai. It is almost 8 o'clock p.m. GMT plus 4. I was going to, UAE time, GM Dubai time. So door to door, we left on Wednesday. We left the house at 5 a.m. and we didn't arrive to our location until 7:30 p.m. the next day. So we had 27 and a half hours of just
Oh,
planes, no trains, automobiles, and luckily we didn't have to do any
brutal.
trains. Yeah,
Was that just pure travel time, or were you guys get any delays, or?
no delays. It actually, we were supposed to fly through Houston, and I got an alert the day before saying that they're expecting thunderstorms. So call customer service and see what you do. So I have status, and we were able to go out of John Wayne. So we were going to go from we were going to go from Ontario to Houston to New Jersey to Dubai. And what we were
Okay.
able to switch it to, so it really worked out, was to go um, from uh, John Wayne to San Francisco, New Jersey, Dubai. So it actually worked out better, and it saved us probably 3 hours of travel time because Ontario's an hour away, and
Hmm. Dang.
so yeah, man, it was. He said, "You're looking
That's a lot
lean.
of
You leaning up?"
get there, man. Yeah,
Not a
you
boy.
you too, dude. Um, Calories and steps and no rucking. I haven't adopted the rucking, but
Well, it seems like everybody else is. I just saw, and it's probably just because of my interest, but there are some known influencers that you and I both follow that have been promoting weighted vests, which is
yeah.
rucking. You know, by math, for every 10% of your body weight that you add to your body, you're burning an extra 10% in calories.
Okay.
So, if you're 150 pounds, 10% would be 15 pounds. So if you're carrying 15 pounds and normally just a 30-minute brisk walk was, I don't know, 200 calories, you just burn 220. So with me, I'm typically carrying around a 33-pound load. So I'm
Okay.
so I'm adding an extra 33 pounds deficit. So that's
Like a 20%.
all you're doing is just you're keeping the same amount of time, probably a little bit around the same distance. You're just increasing the intensity, and so
Yeah.
not only are you burning those more active calories, you're actually just making everything. I don't have any back pain anymore. Like my whole torso and everything is just
Just
strength.
stable.
Yeah, it's just
Love it.
yeah. When I'm running down, I can feel it too. My knees don't crack anymore, and it's pretty crazy.
Dude, it's amazing how what a difference just physical fitness makes, especially as we're you know getting up there in age, which is it's hard to think about, but it's the reality of things.
And I share with you that I have when I ruck, I'm typically rucking early in the morning. Like I'm out the
Hmm.
door before 5, and it's very therapeutic. I actually got to do it a little bit earlier now because the sun comes up more. And what I see is that there's more people coming up. I like being alone. I don't like people,
Hmm.
on the trail
Right.
with me. But it's
Pleasantries and
therapeutic because I'm always thinking about things. And this travel period, look, my Dubai flight was 16 hours. And then we only had a 45-minute layover in New Jersey, and that was a
mm,
6-hour flight. So I'd made a commitment to myself, and you know this. I made a commitment to myself that every single day I'm closing my rings and I'm making
yeah.
10,000 steps. Okay, so that made it problematic that I'm on the flight for 6 hours, 45-minute wait, and then I had another 16 hours, and I was going
Yeah.
into the future. So in real time, I had to, because of that time shift, I had to get 30,000 steps in a time frame that I only had 2 real days. So I had to wake up early. So going back to that, my thought process. Why do I do this? Well, I've committed to myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, a lot of people commit to themselves, and I started thinking about it. And commitment is a promise that you make to yourself, that you make to somebody else, but it's it should be a higher level of promise. It should be a commitment is your
Yeah.
word, it is your bond, it is that is happening, period, the end, regardless of circumstances.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm coming from when it comes to these steps. So, dude, you would have laughed. Um, so I woke up early, and I it was like 3:30, and I didn't feel like I wanted to go out on a trail. I don't know why, but I just felt that it's still dark outside. I don't know why 3:30 is different than 4:30, but in my mind it
Yeah.
was.
Oh, it is.
So no, but for the trail, it's still dark. It's still
Yeah.
nobody else is, everybody else is still sleeping. There's nothing. But I started thinking, I'm like, I sometimes I see coyotes around 4:30, 5 o'clock. They're usually by themselves and they don't bother you. Like dogs bother you more. Domesticated dogs will bother you more than an actual wild coyote will. But
Yeah.
I'm like, well, what if that's just time? What if they're in packs in like the middle of the night? And so I just walked in the backyard, and here I am just walking back and forth. So I did that for 30 minutes. Then family wakes up, we're getting ready, and then we get to the airport, and then get them to the gate, and I have my pack on. It's 25 pounds now because it's just travel gear, and so I'm going back and forth just
Yeah.
until we load. Then we get on the plane. I'm getting up every minute because in
Ah.
order to in not every minute but every hour, in order to close your Apple Move ring, you have to stand up and move around for at least 1 minute out of every 60 seconds. So in order to close that, I had to do that. So by the time I hit the plane, um, I was already at like 8,000 steps, and I already had like 6 hours of standing and such. So I just continued with that. But then we got to New Jersey, and I did the same thing. I rucked the airport. I was going back to terminal to terminal. We had like a two and
Yeah.
a half hour layover. So that's where I finished my extra steps. But then midnight hit when we were on the Dubai flight. So our flight left at like 9:30 p.m. So typically, and it's a 16-hour flight. No, something like that. Yeah, it's like a 16-hour flight. So I'm still doing the same thing, but this time I'm walking back and forth. So I was able to get like 3,000 steps by the time we landed. But then we landed. We got to my sister-in-law's at 7:30, and I'm like, I've got a commitment. I went
Yeah.
running. I went and did an extra 2 hours, hour and a half of interval runs, because when you don't have weight, I had to increase the intensity, and the only way you can increase intensity is to increase the speed. When you don't have weight, you have to increase the speed if you want to have that intensity. So that was a
That
really long way of saying that a lot of people, they don't take commitments to themselves seriously. And I'm on I'm on training day. Today was training day 339, where I haven't missed one. Now, I'm not saying that if I was on training day 5 that I might not have missed it. I probably would have. But when you get to 339
yeah.
and you're shooting to have that 365 days, and then just, it's like Peter Pan, choose the star, and just choose the star to the right and just go. I think is what
Right.
the saying is. That once you get into the thick of it, it's easier to not stop. It's easier to stay committed. It's when you're getting going, it's easy to quit.
Well, it becomes your identity, and that holding yourself accountable to who you are, and like it just builds that belief. But talk about, dude, that's an awesome story, because that is, I mean, that's like something that you can use. You'll be able to use that for the rest of your life. when
You
talking
mean
about
the story?
the
Yeah.
the flight story, like that is one to put into like, hey, like you had every reason under the sun to make an excuse why you couldn't get your steps in and couldn't keep your commitments to yourself. But
Oh, dude, and it
instead,
was gnarly.
you
I'm jet
found
lagged. Like, I don't know if you can tell this. I am jet lagged. I am not
you,
feeling good. And
you,
uh,
you definitely popped on with the, without the exact, the same Brett
hey, man.
enthusiasm.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like,
Well,
all
I
right,
look
I'm
like I'm in,
here.
I got a t-shirt. I'm,
T-shirt.
I don't have my lighting. I have a white background, but, I thought about canceling it with you. That thought did come in. I'm like, no, I'm
You
committed.
know what?
Like doing this, having this conversation with a white background. Yeah, it's not as nice as what it normally is, but it's better than not doing it at all. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, um,
The
and the
fact that you were
story.
able to get 3,000 steps in on a freaking airplane is insane.
Well, I was able to do 100 steps from end to end, so that's 200, and then times 10 times that's 2,000. So I literally just did the math.
Dude.
And the great thing is, it was a little bit awkward the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours because people are awake.
Yeah.
It wasn't as awkward, but it was tiring when everybody was asleep because I was forcing myself to stay up. I didn't,
Yeah.
like I'm going to be able to acclimate after I go to bed tonight because I forced myself to stay up.
Right.
I dozed off for like the maybe 30 minutes. I set a timer and I'm like, man, I have got to close my eyes. So I did like a 30-minute nap uh, today, but I got the workout in. I got the steps in. I closed all the rings. I hit my
Dude, that's
appointments.
freaking awesome, man. That's super cool. That is I mean, that is a story to put in your repertoire when you're, having meetings, you're talking to people. Like that's one that you could pull out time and time again. Um,
You know what's interesting with it though, and I've had this conversation with you, and it seems like you're going through it as well, is I feel like I've been reborn. Like everything is being affected by the decision I made a year ago, almost a year ago.
mhm,
As I've rediscovered my health, as I've re-implemented, and a lot has to do with wisdom. I've always said that um, knowledge plus wisdom, no, knowledge plus experience equals wisdom.
right,
There's a lot of pretend people out there who just go for knowledge and they want to play that they have wisdom. I call them pretend coaches. They're riddled in real estate. You can't make it in
right,
real estate, let's go teach it. But in order to have true wisdom, you have to have the knowledge and go out there and fail and succeed, fail and succeed, fail and exceed a lot of times. That's where it comes from wisdom. So I look back and why was I not able to do this, 20 or 30 years ago? Well, 20 or 30 years ago, I didn't have the experiences that I've had over the last 20, 30 years. Now, basically what I'm doing right now is I'm just doing everything the Marine Corps taught me. And what's happened is that it all makes sense now. I'm not getting injured doing it because back then I would just go, 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 get injured, recover, go break myself again, recover, break
right.
myself. Can't do that anymore. Like breaking yourself could be permanent now. So, but that's the interesting part is that it's transcending into every aspect of the life. You
Right.
you pick this one thing, like people who are watching this, you pick this one thing, your health, and you start eating right and you start getting consistent, you make those dedications to me. Yes, you did it for one thing, but it's going to expand those disciplines that you've put back into your life. It's going to make everything else better.
Amen.
Those are those wrecking thoughts. Those are my
Yep.
therapeutic sessions. And AI makes it easy, bro. Like there is so much stuff when you're having conversations with Chat GPT and going, I know so much about intermittent fasting now that I didn't know before. I now
Right.
understand. You could Google it and find it out, but just the conversations you're having with AI that you don't have to, you can't Google what you don't know.
Right.
And the conversations with AI has been able to ask those, inquisitive questions.
Yeah,
So
I'm right there with you. Using it on just s- s- the things you wouldn't think about, and in like just very specific, detailed like feedback, and um, yeah, the I'm breaking my intermittent fasting, cheating today. This is a nice little hack. Protein latte. So it's like a scoop of vanilla protein
did you
whipped
pick up
up,
intermittent
and then
fasting too?
espresso. I've been doing it forever.
Oh, have you?
Uh, I mean, it's just been my almost my default probably for maybe last like 7, 8 years. Um, and it all started kind of it mostly just started from me being like eating, being lethargic like during the and then I'm like, I gotta do something. And then realizing like, oh, when I don't eat during the morning, like I have tons of energy all throughout the morning, like I'm and it, I mean, obviously I learn more about intermittent fasting and then tried it, and I was like, oh yes, my body's responding significantly better to this. So normally, yeah, I probably won't eat, until very earliest, like noon. Most of the times it's like 2, 3. Um,
So
but
when's your feasting period end? So I'm
um,
I'm on a I'm on an 18-6. So
yeah,
I fast for 18 hours and I eat for it's harder during the summer just because later hours. Typically I don't eat past 5 and I don't eat before 11 a.m. So 5 to 11.
yeah.
Um,
I'm not super hardcore. I have I give myself a little bit more flexibility, so it's not like a hard and fast. I'll go some days it'll be a 6-hour window, some days it'll be an 8-hour window. Um, I do. I also do. Been doing more like refeed days too, just for like calories. So I'll do those on the weekend, and then actually one full day of fasting once a week as well. Just a whole 24-hour
wow, I've
period.
never done a 24. That's not true. Not
Um,
on purpose though.
not on purpose.
Not on
I've
purpose. But
done.
doing
It, I say I recommend you trying it sometime. I've done a 10-day fast, like
oh I
water juice
water
or
yeah,
just
yeah.
like
I
water
remember you doing
fast.
that.
Um, that was probably one of the most like beneficial things I think I've ever done, like health wise, just kind of like resetting everything. But um, yeah, that's a good tool to add to the toolbox.
Well, look, for that, we're at time, and that's the interesting thing. We talked about commitment. We talked about a subject that I think that everybody struggles with, but typically not our normal conversation. So it was a good conversation.
Very good.
All right, let's plan next Friday, my friend.
Beautiful, my man.
Talk to you later. Bye.
Later.